Ready for some hard-hitting football and a few surprises? As anticipation builds for the Rebels' kickoff against Georgia State, Lane Kiffin didn't pull any punches in his recent press conference. If you think you know what to expect, think again. The Ole Miss head coach covered everything from electrifying home crowds and bold new strategies to injury woes and the pressure on an untested quarterback. But here's where things get interesting. Some of his comments might raise eyebrows among fans. Let's dive in. Lane Kiffin opened with a rallying cry. This year's squad is brimming with fresh faces, making the upcoming home opener even more thrilling. He made one thing clear. He wants the home crowd at Vaught-Hemingway to electrify the stadium like never before. And in a twist that fans will appreciate, this year's opener will be a night game, a welcome change from previous early afternoon games. Kiffin urged everyone to show up early, stick around until the final whistle, and create the kind of high-voltage environment that can push the team to victory. And here's the part most people miss. It's not just about what the players do. Kiffin sees the fans as a crucial part of the team's energy. Addressing the transition of first-year starting quarterback Austin Simmons, Kiffin couldn't hide his optimism. Simmons impressed during the last scrimmage, which boosted the coaching staff's confidence in his abilities. However, for all the headlines about passing stats and offensive prowess, Kiffin stressed the importance of taking care of the football. Ball security, especially for a new starter, is the top priority. With several talented weapons at Simmons' disposal, who have already turned heads in practice, the challenge is translating that promise from the practice field to game day glory. On the topic of transfer quarterback Trinidad Chambliss, Kiffin was complimentary and straightforward. Chambliss has swiftly learned the offensive system and shown strong performances during scrimmages, validating the decision to bring him aboard. Kiffin highlighted the philosophy of improving each roster segment, regardless of existing depth. A subtle but potentially controversial hint that no one's job is safe if the program can get better talent. Then came the bombshell that could spark debates across the conference. Kiffin was asked about the SEC officially moving to a 9-game schedule. His take? He brushed it aside, focusing only on the current season. Yet, he didn't shy away from acknowledging that realignment and scheduling changes are driven by money, drawing a subtle line between the idealistic view of college football and the reality of big business. Leadership, especially at the quarterback position, was another focus. Simmons earns praise for his dedication, studying hard, spending extra time with both coaches and mentors. Jackson Dart, last season's quarterback, served as a valuable role model for Simmons. Kiffin reminded everyone just how pivotal the quarterback position is to team success, and explained that the program pours significant resources into nurturing these athletes, emphasizing the relentless behind-the-scenes work required for excellence. For those concerned about injuries, there's a twist. Contrary to hopes that the team might start the season unscathed, Kiffin admitted that lingering issues persist, notably among the offensive line and tight ends. He was clear. The team must step up, especially considering Georgia State's experienced and well-prepared squad, which recently scored a big win over Vanderbilt under their coordinator Hugh Jackson. Sometimes, the early season isn't as smooth as fans wish. Speaking of coaches, Kiffin wasted no time praising Enrique Davis, a former Rebel now coaching Georgia State's running backs, highlighting his coaching skills and depth of talent at his position group. A heartening, if bittersweet, reminder of the bonds created in college football. And what about that all-important running game? Kiffin admitted it's a work in progress, hampered recently by injuries. He was refreshingly candid about last year's struggles on the ground, pointing out how missed opportunities in the run game led directly to losses. The takeaway? Fixing the run game is not just a wish, it's mission critical. When it came to Georgia State's running backs, several of whom have Mississippi ties, Kiffin noted their experience and physicality. The Rebels' defense will be put to the test, facing familiar faces determined to make an impact. Who wouldn't want to see how these in-state rivalries play out on the field? As for the defensive front, last year's group set a new standard for depth and prowess. Reproducing that kind of success, Kiffin admitted, won't be easy. The bar was set high with national rankings in tackles for loss and sacks. Still, he believes in the current group's potential, crediting Coach Joyner for effectively integrating new talent and keeping the unit unpredictable and challenging. Special teams, so often overlooked, got a brief but positive mention. Both the kicker and punter performed well in the latest scrimmage, with a clutch long field goal and a booming 54-yard punt. Their off-season additions, it turns out, may quietly make a difference when games go down to the wire. And here's the kicker. Lane Kiffin's candid, sometimes provocative answers leave a lot open to interpretation. Should Ole Miss fans worry about lingering injuries? Is relying on a first-time starting quarterback too much of a gamble? And what about the elephant in the room? Are money-driven conference changes good or bad for college football? Drop your thoughts below and join the debate. Should tradition dictate, or is evolution the price of survival? Feature image, Karis Chambliss, Rebel Walk. By the way, much of today's report comes courtesy of sports journalist Evelyn Van Pelt, with over 20 years covering athletics. She has been a steady voice for Ole Miss sports lovers since founding the Rebel Walk in 2013. Want to share your hot take? Reach out to Evelyn at evie@therebelwalk.com.